hello, and a very warm welcome to you. It is so very good that you found your way here to this quiet place set aside just for rest. This story was made with the gentlest of intentions, hoping to help you find a bit of simple contentment and to make the journey into sleep a peaceful and easy one. If this time together brings you comfort, a quiet like for the story, a subscription to the channel, or a kind comment is always so very appreciated. Tonight, we will be visiting the Lumina Glade, a secret heart deep within an ancient wood. Here, beneath the boughs of humming whisperwood trees, a soft and living carpet of moonmoss glows with the gentle dreams of the forest. It is a place of profound stillness, a sanctuary created to offer you a moment of true and peaceful respite. Chapter 1, The Whispering Gate. One ought to know, I think, that some paths are not found on maps, but are felt with the feet and with a quiet sort of listening in the heart. Corin's journey had been just such a thing, a long and unhurried walk that drew them away from the hustle of things and towards a deep and ancient quiet. The air itself seemed to announce their arrival, softening from a bright, open warmth to a cool, shaded hush as they reached the edge of the whisperwood. The trees here were old beyond counting, their trunks smooth and silver, like the pelt of some sleeping animal, and their leaves, a pale dusty green, held the afternoon light in a soft, diffused glow that seemed to seep into the very air. The first true step beneath the canopy was like stepping into a different world entirely, a world insulated by stillness. All the little sounds of the open fields, the chirping and the buzzing, fell away, replaced by something far more profound. It was a low, continuous hum, a sound one felt as much in the bones as heard with the ears, and it seemed to emanate from the silver-gray leaves themselves, a constant, soothing resonance. This, Corin knew without being told, was the forest's own voice, a lullaby that had been sung for ages, and the gentle vibration of it seemed to smooth away the dust of the road and the memory of any hurry. Following no path but the one that felt kindest to the feet, Corin moved deeper into the wood's embrace. The ground was a thick, soft carpet of fallen leaves from 100 autumns, yielding with each soft step and muffling their passage until it was nearly silent. Sunlight struggled to find its way down here, and when it did, it arrived not in harsh beams, but as gentle, shifting pools of golden light on the forest floor, illuminating a patch of ferns or the intricate bark of a sleeping root. The air, cool and still, carried a most wonderful scent, a delicate and sweet perfume of some unseen night-blooming flower, woven through with the rich, clean smell of damp and fertile earth. It was this delightful scent, a fragrant invitation, that guided Corin onward. The hum of the whisperwood trees deepened, becoming a comforting presence that wrapped around them like the softest of blankets. They felt a sense of unnoticed tension in their shoulders begin to dissolve, a gentle unfurling in the quiet air. Around the base of one particularly ancient tree whose roots formed a series of gentle arches, Corin noticed a faint silvery blue light pulsing with a slow and steady rhythm, a silent heartbeat in the deep woods. It was a gentle and wondrous magic, one that did not startle, but instead beckoned with a quiet promise of peace. And then, as the light of the day began its slow fade into a lavender dusk, Corin saw it, nestled in a small, perfect clearing, as if it had been placed there by a careful hand ages ago, was a conservatory. Its frame was made of the same silvery wood as the trees around it, weathered to a soft, gentle gray, and its many glass panes were cloudy with mist and time. A simple wooden door stood slightly ajar, a silent welcome. There was a profound sense of safety about the little building, a feeling that it was a place made for rest, for sheltering from nothing more worrisome than a gentle night's rain. Inside, the air was even more still. A simple wooden cot stood against one wall, a thick woven blanket folded neatly upon it. A small, sturdy table and a single chair sat near a large window that looked out into the deepening twilight of the woods. Dust motes danced in the last rays of sunlight, each a tiny, glittering world. Corin placed their soft leather satchel upon the table, the sound gentle in the profound silence. There was a feeling of coming home, though they had never been here before, a sense of having reached the destination of that long, quiet listening in the heart. Letting out a slow, soft breath they had not realized they were holding, Corin felt the day settle completely. They could feel the gentle weight of their own body, the tiredness in their limbs, a pleasant and welcome sensation. Through the glass, they watched the first of the silvery blue lights begin to glow more brightly in the growing dark of the glade, its pulse soft and slow, like the breathing of the slumbering world. Here, everything was just as it should be, held in the cradle of the forest's hum. The conservatory was a sanctuary within a sanctuary. As night finally fell, the gentle pulsing light from the glade outside cast slow, dancing patterns upon the walls and ceiling, a silent, moving tapestry of soft blues and deep, velvety shadows. Corin lay upon the cot, pulling the surprisingly warm woolen blanket up, its texture soft and reassuring against their skin. The scent of jasmine drifted in through the open door, a final comforting note to the day, and listening to the endless gentle hum of the whisperwood, Corin felt their thoughts drift away one by one like leaves on a slow and peaceful stream. Chapter 2. First light on the moss. Corin awoke not to a sound, but to a quality of light, a soft and pearlescent glow that filled the little conservatory with a gentle milky whiteness. The mist of the morning clung to their glass panes, diffusing the dawn into something dreamy and insubstantial. For a long moment, they simply lay there, feeling the comfortable weight of the woven blanket and listening. The constant low hum of the whisperwood trees was still there, a steadfast and reassuring presence, the very first and last sound of every day in this peaceful place. A profound sense of calm rested within them, as if the stillness of the glade had seeped into their very bones as they slept. Pushing the soft blanket aside, they rose and stepped quietly to the door, the cool, smooth wood of the floorboards pleasant beneath their bare feet. Outside, the air was cool and crisp, laden with the clean, green scent of living things and the damp earth. The glade was transformed. In the half-light of dawn, the source of the silvery blue glow was revealed. The entire floor of the clearing was not earth or grass, but a continuous, thick carpet of the most beautiful moss Corin had ever seen. It was a deep, velvety green, and from within its very structure came that soft, internal luminescence that pulsed with a life all its own. Kneeling down, Corin reached out a hand, hesitating for a moment before letting their fingers touch the surface of the wondrous plant. The texture was incredible, softer than velvet and cool to the touch, yet beneath the coolness was a distinct and gentle warmth, a radiating energy that was profoundly calming. It was like touching something that was sleeping and dreaming all at once. The light within the moss seemed to respond to their touch, pulsing just a little brighter for a moment before returning to its slow, steady rhythm. The sensation was one of gentle welcome, of quiet acceptance. As the sun rose higher, though its light remained gentle and filtered by the high silver canopy, the patterns within the moss became clearer. They were not random flickers of light, but slowly shifting, intricate designs that flowed like water. Corin watched, completely mesmerized, as the light swirled and coalesced to form the perfect, gentle shape of a slumbering fawn, its form visible for a few long moments, before it softly dissolved back into abstract waves. A little while later, a new pattern emerged, this one the slow, graceful unfurling of a fern frond, each tiny leaf of light opening in perfect, silent sequence. It was the forest's own dream, woven into a tapestry of light. It was then that Corin noticed they were not entirely alone. A small movement at the edge of their vision resolved into a tiny creature, a vole with a magnificent coat of fur the color of spun silver. It watched Corin with dark, intelligent eyes that held no fear, only a calm and gentle curiosity. Corin remained perfectly still, and after a moment, the little vole trotted forward, its tiny paws making no sound at all on the soft moss. It stopped a few feet away, dropped a small, perfect wild berry at the edge of the mossy carpet, gave a soft, chittering sound, and then retreated to a respectful distance, where it began to groom its shining fur with a peaceful contentment. Corin smiled, a slow, gentle expression that felt as natural as the moss beneath them. They picked up the berry, its skin cool and smooth. This was Finian, they decided, a name that felt as soft and quiet as the creature itself. The simple offering was a conversation without words, a shared understanding of the glade's peaceful nature. The taste of the berry was sweet and wild, a burst of flavor that seemed to hold the essence of the clean morning air and the rich, dark earth. Hours passed in this way, in the simple act of observation. Corin watched the moonmoss weave its silent stories, a continuous and flowing narrative of the forest's inner life. The patterns showed the slow, patient journey of water being drawn up through the roots of the great whisperwood trees, and the gentle drift of seeds upon an imperceptible current of air. It was a world of movement too slow for a hurried eye to see, a secret and beautiful dance made visible by the glade's gentle magic. As the afternoon light began to soften once more, Corin felt a deep and settled gratitude. The discovery of this place felt less like a chance finding and more like an arrival. Every part of it, from the humming leaves and the yielding ground to the soft light of the living moss, felt like a balm for the spirit. The presence of Finian, the quiet, silvery companion, was a comforting reassurance that they were a welcome guest in this sacred sleeping world, a quiet observer of its beautiful woven dreams. Chapter 3, Tending the Weave. A new and gentle rhythm began to shape Corin's days, a quiet partnership with the Lumina Glade. There was a profound and simple joy to be found in caring for the moonmoss, in becoming a part of its slow and steady life. It felt, in a way, like tending to the physical form of peacefulness itself. Each morning, after the mist had lifted, Corin would take up a brush they had found in the conservatory, its bristles worn and wonderfully soft, and begin the slow, meditative task of sweeping the moss clean. The motion was rhythmic and soothing, a gentle caress that cleared away the few silver leaves or tiny twigs that had fallen in the night. The sound of the soft bristles whispering across the velvety moss was a gentle shushing, a sound that harmonized perfectly with the constant low hum of the whisperwood trees above. It was a quiet kind of work, one that asked for slowness and attention. As Corin worked, the moss seemed to respond, its silvery blue glow brightening subtly in the patches they had just cleared, as if sighing in contentment. This simple act felt less like a chore and more like a conversation, a quiet expression of gratitude for the sanctuary the glade provided. After the sweeping was done, Corin would take a beautiful dark wooden bowl, its surface worn smooth with time, and begin the second part of their daily ritual. They would move through the glade, collecting the cool, fresh dew that had gathered in the cups of large leaves or on the delicate petals of the night-blooming jasmine. Each drop was collected with care, a tiny shimmering sphere of pure water that landed in the bowl with the faintest, most delicate plinking sound. It was a slow process, a treasure hunt for tiny liquid jewels, and it focused the mind on the smallest, most beautiful details of the world around them. With the bowl filled, they would return to the moss and begin to water it, a slow and deliberate act. They would tip the bowl just so, allowing the dew to trickle out in a gentle stream, watching as the moss drank it in, the droplets clinging to its surface like tiny diamonds before being absorbed. The rich, clean scent of damp earth would rise to meet them, a smell of pure and simple vitality. Under this gentle care, the light within the moss seemed to pulse with a deeper, more resonant energy, and the patterns it wove grew ever more intricate, telling ever more wondrous stories of the silent life within the woods. Sometimes, Finian the silver vole would join in this quiet work. He would appear from his cozy hollow at the base of a great tree and diligently use his tiny paws and nose to push a particularly stubborn leaf from a patch of moss, before looking up at Corin with an air of shared accomplishment. Corin would reward him with a small piece of a sweet root or a juicy berry, and they would sit together for a moment in comfortable silence, two caretakers enjoying the fruits of their gentle labor. The soft warmth of Finian's fur as he sat for a moment near Corin's hand was a comforting, grounding presence. Corin began to understand that the moss was not just dreaming the forest's present, but its past as well. Sometimes, the glowing patterns would depict the slow, centuries-long growth of a whisperwood tree from a single tiny seed. At other times, it would show the path of a slow-moving stream that had long since vanished, its memory held and cherished by the ancient living land. Tending to the moss felt like tending to the memory of the forest itself, a sacred and deeply calming trust. The gentle repetition of these tasks had a profound effect on Corin. It settled their mind, smoothed away the edges of any lingering thoughts, and rooted them completely in the present moment. The simple physical sensations, the smooth wood of the bowl, the soft texture of the moss, the cool weight of the dew, became anchors to a state of deep and unwavering peace. The air itself, filled with the forest's gentle hum and the sweet scent of jasmine, seemed to hold them, to support them. As dusk began to fall each evening, Corin would finish their work and find a comfortable spot to simply sit and watch as the glade came alive with its full, gentle light. The feeling of their own body was a pleasant, settled weight against the soft ground. They felt a sense of purpose that was simple and true, a quiet joy in the act of nurturing this wondrous, peaceful life. The moss, now clean and refreshed, would offer up its most beautiful dreams, a glowing tapestry of gratitude that filled the entire glade with a soft, sleepy, silvery blue light. Chapter 4. The Forest Lullaby. The days in the Lumina Glade melted one into the next, a seamless and gentle flow of time measured not by hours, but by the slow transit of soft light through the silver leaves overhead. Corin found that the need to do anything at all began to fade, replaced by a simple and profound desire just to be. They found a favorite spot, a place where the roots of an ancient whisperwood tree had formed a perfect, smooth hollow, like a chair carved by nature itself. Here they would sit for long, uninterrupted stretches, their back resting against the solid, comforting presence of the tree's silver bark. From this vantage point, the entire glade was a living painting, a masterpiece of quiet and gentle motion. The constant, soothing hum from the tree above was a physical presence, a gentle vibration that traveled down the trunk and into Corin's own body, seeming to quieten the very thoughts in their mind. Worries about a world left behind or plans for a world yet to come simply had no purchase here. They would arise faintly like distant clouds and then drift away on the gentle currents of the forest lullaby, leaving behind only a clear and peaceful sky of the mind. Corin's attention became drawn to the subtlest of details. They watched the slow, hypnotic pulse of the moon moss, the way the light would swell and recede in a rhythm as calm and steady as a sleeping heart. They began to notice that their own breathing, without any conscious effort, had slowed to match this gentle cadence, a slow, deep inhalation as the light brightened, and a long, soft exhalation as it dimmed. It was a shared breath, a quiet communion with the living, dreaming glade, and it brought with it a sense of peace, so deep it felt as though it had always been there, just waiting to be noticed. The stories woven by the moss became a source of endless, gentle wonder. Corin watched as the light depicted the slow, silent journey of a single drop of water from the highest leaf of a whisperwood tree down its silvery bark into the dark, rich earth, and up again through its ancient roots, a complete and perfect cycle of life shown in shimmering, silent light. It was a story with no conflict, no climax, just a beautiful, continuous, and peaceful flow. This observation of simple natural processes was profoundly restful, a reminder of the world's inherent and gentle order. Finian would often come and sit in the hollow of the root beside Corin, a small, warm, and silent companion. He would bring a perfectly formed mushroom or a glistening dewdrop on a leaf as a simple gift, and then settle down, his silvery fur a patch of soft texture in Corin's peripheral vision. His serene presence was a constant, gentle anchor to the present moment. Sometimes he would fall asleep, his tiny sides rising and falling in a rhythm even slower and deeper than the pulsing moss. And watching him, Corin felt their own body relax even more, a sympathetic and gentle wave of release. It was in this state of profound stillness that Corin began to feel the interconnectedness of the glade. The hum of the trees, the pulse of the moss, the scent of the flowers, and the silent presence of its creatures were not separate things. They were all part of one great, peaceful whole, one single harmonious song. Corin felt themselves becoming a part of it, not as an intruder or even a guest, but as another quiet note in the ancient melody. The boundary between themselves and the glade felt soft and permeable, a gentle dissolving into the surrounding peace. A sense of acceptance, as soft and gentle as the moss itself, settled over Corin. There was nothing to fix, nothing to strive for, nothing to understand. There was only the gentle reality of the present moment, the feeling of the smooth bark at their back, the sweet air in their lungs, the soft light filling their vision, and the deep, resonant hum that held everything in its peaceful embrace. It was enough. It was more than enough. It was a state of simple, profound being. As twilight came to the glade once more, painting the spaces between the trees in soft shades of purple and deep blue, the glow of the moon moss became the primary source of light. It bathed the clearing in its sleepy, magical luminescence, and the patterns it wove seemed especially peaceful, as if the forest were preparing itself for a long and restful night. And resting there in the arms of the ancient tree, Corin felt only a quiet and immense gratitude for this forest's beautiful, silent lullaby. Chapter 5. A Bed of Woven Dreams. A new kind of knowing had settled deep within Corin, a quiet understanding that came not from the mind, but from a place of deep cellular calm. It was the knowledge that true rest was not simply an absence of activity, but a presence of profound peace. They felt it in the easy way their limbs moved, in the slow and gentle rhythm of their own heartbeat, and in the quiet, spacious feeling within their own mind. The Lumina Glade had offered its gift, and Corin had, with a gentle and open heart, received it completely. That evening, a desire arose not to return to the conservatory, but to remain fully within the glade's embrace through the night. It was a gentle impulse, born of a feeling of a complete safety and belonging. With a slow, deliberate movements, Corin began to gather the softest and driest of the fallen silver leaves, their rustling the only sound to accompany the ceaseless, gentle hum of the woods. They chose a spot near a particularly vibrant patch of moon moss, where the ground was especially soft and yielding. They fashioned a simple bed from the leaves, a soft and fragrant mound that smelled of autumn and clean earth. It was a nest, a place of perfect and simple comfort. As they worked, Finian watched from a nearby root, his dark eyes seeming to hold a quiet approval. When the bed was ready, he trotted over, circled it once, and then curled up at the foot of it, a tiny silver guardian of slumber, his presence a final and reassuring touch. Corin smiled and lay down, the leaves sighing softly beneath him. Lying there, the world was transformed into a canopy of gentle wonder. Above, through the gaps in the whisperwood leaves, the first faint stars of the night were beginning to appear, distant and serene. But the more immediate sky was the one below, the living, breathing tapestry of the moon moss that covered the ground and climbed the trunks of the great silent trees. Its silvery blue light was soft on the eyes, a gentle and constant source of beauty, and its slow pulse was a profoundly soothing sight. The patterns flowed and shifted, weaving their endless silent stories. Corin watched a glowing image of a moth with wings of soft light emerge, flutter silently for a moment, and then dissolve into a swirl of shimmering dust. It was followed by the slow, graceful dance of pollen drifting from one imagined flower to another. These were the simplest, most peaceful dreams imaginable, the very essence of the forest quiet soul made visible. The gentle warmth from the moss seeped up through the bed of leaves, a comforting heat that soothed every muscle. Corin placed a hand on their own chest, feeling the slow and steady rise and fall of their own breath, perfectly in sync with the pulsing light that surrounded them. The boundary they had felt softening before now seemed to disappear completely. Their breath was the forest's breath. Their rest was the forest's rest. They were not merely in the glade, they were a part of its deep, dreaming peace. The feeling of gentle weightlessness, of being held and supported completely by the soft earth and the humming air, was absolute. The sweet, delicate scent of the night-blooming jasmine was a gentle perfume in the cool night air, a final sensory gift. All the sensations of the glade, the sight of the glowing moss, the sound of the humming trees, the scent of the flowers, the warmth of the earth, and the soft texture of the leafy bed, combined into a single overwhelming feeling of profound and total tranquility. There was nothing more to see, nothing more to hear, nothing more to feel but this perfect, all-encompassing peace. With a final soft exhalation, a gentle release of the day, Corin's eyes slowly drifted closed. The patterns of the moon moss continued to shift and flow behind their closed eyelids, a soft and persistent glow that promised a night of deep and gentle slumber. And as the story itself softens, its voice becoming a final fading whisper, it leaves you there, adrift in the calm, held in the cradle of the forest, on a soft bed of woven dreams.